you, thank you.
No, thank you.
Big shout out to my good friend Eddie Hafer for being here tonight. Thank you, buddy.
Well, that's the way to start off a show.
Amen. Yeah!
All right. This is Live Stage Radio, and you're tuned into the ColdShot. I'm your host, Pyros.
Thank you, young man.
And we'd like special thanks to our studio audience tonight. Let's give yourself a round of applause. Thank you for being here on Tuesday night in the heart of Smithtown at the Rail. And just wanted to just say it's great to be back up here, and I got some powerful friends with me tonight. And Chaz Benalis, where is he?
Right here, brother.
Crime?
Rob Nitrous.
Rob Notches from the band KillCode, who I am honored to have as my guest tonight.
We're honored to be here.
And well, there's a lot going on with everybody, and it's a Tuesday night, and we're rocking and rolling. So I want to thank everybody out there in social media land for inviting us to your homes. And that's right. And just want to say thanks, and I hope you enjoy the show tonight. So, that being said, you know, Chaz is a guitar guy. Yes, Chaz is a guitar guy.
Right.
You want to just settle on in here?
Yeah, come on in. Get comfortable.
Here we go.
I like this. He's got us separated for once.
He does. Good stuff.
All right, here we go. Special thanks to John Montalbano, who was my first guest last week, for special guesting tonight and laying it down tonight on the
The one and only.
That's right.
Yeah, funny story about John. I actually did not meet John in the music world. I actually met John a long time ago in a work environment, actually in an engineering environment, and then we had some mutual friends that said, you know, hey, the long-haired, crazy scientist-looking dude over there, meaning John. Man, he's an unbelievable bass player. You got to get together and jam with that guy, and yeah, the rest is history. So, John, thank you so much for coming tonight.
Yeah, thank you, brother.
Laying down the thunder.
The man's got an amazing history, an amazing story.
We'll need him again in a little while.
Yeah.
He'll be back up.
So, all right, so, you know, let's just get started here. You guys, you know, have been ripping it up on the local New York scene for many years.
Hell yeah.
You know, now, as which was considered the heavy metal New York underground scene.
Yep.
You have since then resurfaced, opening for the likes of Dee Snider, Twisted Sister, Lita Ford, and Aerosmith touring these amazing European festivals around the world, and you're playing alongside, as I will see, your contemporaries and fellow bands such as the kind of music that you do. How did that get started? And if you know, just for those that don't know, a little history, you know, on how the band got formed and where you are today.
Robbie?
Sure, I'll take that. I was living out in California for many years. I'm born and raised here, obviously, but my professional drum career was basically all out there, because I left when I was like 18. So, ironically, whenever I wound up moving back, I guess it was about 8-9 years ago, I was looking to join an original kick-ass band. And this is like back in the days of MySpace. So
MySpace.
I knew of a woman named Mistress Julia, who actually is a really good friend of ours now.
From Fuse TV.
Correct. Yep. So that's how I had known of her, from afar, watching all the metal shows out there. She had posted what I guess back then was called a bulletin, and it was for a band that, you know, had a couple of other band names tagged to it. And it just, out of all the stuff I was reading and searching to audition for, or try to audition for, that was the one I figured would get me in the biggest rooms based on some of their history. Didn't know them from the hole in the wall, but if she was posting it, I figured it had some, you know, legs.
It was pretty, yeah.
So I answered the ad. They were in the, Chaz will tell you, you know, him and Tommy worked in a band together. It was short-lived, I think, at the time. They put together basically a couple of demos in Chaz's studio.
That's right.
And figured this is worth trying to start something. Yep. They also knew Eric Mr. Eric Bones.
Eric, shout out to Eric Bones, bassist.
Yeah.
King of the nighttime world.
Hi, little buddy.
King of the nighttime world.
I love you, little buddy.
They shared stages with him as well along the way, so they immediately pulled him in. So the band kind of was a band, but it wasn't a band yet. I got in at the ground level. I auditioned for drums. They had a bunch of other people, but you know, whatever demo they had given me, I went into the audition, and the same stuff I played at that audition is exactly how it went to tape. And to this day, I can tell you, I mean, for all your KillCode fans out there,
that original demo.
it was kicking and screaming. It was goes down easy, and it was 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
Yeah.
Whatever I put to that for the audition is exactly how it's tracked on
That's
the
just
email.
how it's done. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's really true. When Robbie came in to the audition, we had auditioned quite a bit of other drummers, more than 10, and some were great, some were really flashy and, you know, over the top. Some were more in the pocket and played to the song, but it was either they had something but not something else, or they had something else and they didn't have this other thing. But Robbie's right. Those when he came into that audition, the way he played the drums that day is exactly the way the songs were written, arranged. It was one of those magic moments when he came in. The first, you know, the first couple notes.
Wow.
As soon as he hit it, it was exactly what we were waiting for.
That's
The guitar guy.
So just as
The drum god.
And I do remember calling him in the process before I got in a room with him, and we were just trying to schedule what day I was going to be there. And just that, in this rock and roll world, is a fucking pain in the ass.
It's hard enough
just to get all 5 people on a day to be somewhere. So anyway, I remember speaking with him on the phone, and before he even could say a word, I was just like, Chaz? He's like, yeah. I was like, dude, you're a psycho guitar player. Just from the demo we sent me. He was like,
psycho.
thank you.
That's true.
Good stuff.
I want to just shake your hand for actually being one of the few guys that actually plays honest-to-God guitar riffs.
Thank you.
In this day and age, you know, not just power chording out. You're actually putting some thought behind the riffs,
Thank you.
which is what makes your music so head and above shoulders about, you know, the rest.
Thanks, man.
You know?
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So, this question's for you. Growing up, you know, why the guitar and, you know, some of your influences. Like, what made you want to, you know?
Yep. Get into guitar and who were my big influences. Okay. Funny story. I grew up in small town Pennsylvania, a place called Falls. It's very, very rural, very country. You know, one post office, you know, one bank. You got to drive 15 miles just to get to the closest grocery store on a windy dirt road. And the guys in the band have been to my parents' house, and they'll tell you it's way out in the woods.
We're going this weekend.
We'll be there this weekend. These crazy dudes are coming too. The KC crew's coming as well.
You guys have a gig this weekend.
We do.
We're
we're
garden premiere.
Playing in my hometown. It's a huge honor. I'm very, very excited to be going back home. James Callahan, a very good friend of mine, is an amazing promoter. He's got a bar back in Pennsylvania now. He converted the outdoor parking lot into kind of like a very 80s bizarre beer garden style vibe with an outdoor stage, and we're really, really excited to be kicking off Camp Rattler at the Border Bar. So,
Wow.
So we're excited.
You know what? I may have to take off and just come to this.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on
Road
in.
trip.
Beers,
Hell
good
yeah.
friends, and some great music.
There's plenty of the local
I might have to.
KillCode crew. They do always come up. for
Yeah,
these
they
things.
do. They
That's
always
pretty
support
crazy.
us.
Well, you know what's amazing is that you have an amazing following.
We
You
do.
have KillCode crew Mexico, Germany,
Yep.
Puerto Rico,
Yeah.
UK,
Australia.
and all over the world.
Yep.
And
Australia.
it's just really amazing that people from around the world gravitate to, you know, the big band, the personalities of the band, and the music.
Yeah.
And is when you go and write songs, do you think of them as a whole, or do you just?
Sure.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, to answer the question, the song's Still Here, right?
Yeah.
That was a song that, I think, Robbie, you and I were big on, you were huge on, actually arranged the whole song. I came in with the original idea of it, but what it was is it was when the New York scene had just embraced KillCode, and it was a really special time in our career because we kind of felt the momentum and we felt the love. And you know, we played Mercury, we would sell it out. We went to a bigger place, we went to Bowery, we sold it out. Then we went to Irving Plaza and we sold it out. So it was right around that time frame, and we wrote this song called Still Here, which at the end of the song, it calls out lyrics about people and our friends. I don't want to say fans, but more like the KC crew, the family, our family, and it actually called them out. It even calls out the bars and the places and the rehearsal spots that we were going to. 2 a.m. down to 3 a cup, 6 a.m. drinking shots at Duff's. I mean, you know, that's what we were doing. That's what we were doing. You know, yeah, it was basically paying homage to our friends and our family that were the KC crew. So to answer your question, yeah, you know, Kicking and Screaming, that's a song. That's a global party rock and roll anthem song. There's a new song that nobody has heard yet that's coming out that's called Lucky Elephant, which is another homage to more of a global perspective. And then we have another song called Let's Get Back to Rock and Roll, which is very similar to that as well. So,
wow, so things to look forward to.
We do take that into account when we write songs, yeah.
Wow. So the songwriting process, that was going to be my next question.
All over the map with us.
All right, so it's not like you come up with the riffs and you put lyrics to it and you do this, you do that, and all... It comes from everywhere.
Tom is the primary lyricist in the band. Primary.
Okay.
Eric is also a great lyricist, but everybody in the band contributes in a different way, and there's no set format. For example,
Everything happens organically.
Basically. It's very organic. Eric might have a riff and a melody, and he starts humming it at rehearsal. And then we all just we all chime in. One thing I will say is Robbie's really the arranger of everything. Different guys.
Maestro.
Yeah. He's kind of like
the architect.
You know what he is? He's kind of like when you look at an orchestra and you see the composer who kind of keeps everybody in check, and you know, he's the kind of guy that's like, hey, you know, I know you guys really like this chorus, but you just did it 37 times, really? Cut it in half. He's that guy. So he kind of brings the sense and the logic and the structure to our songs.
Kind of puts it in perspective.
Yeah, totally. He makes it a song, you know?
Wow. It's very cool. Now, when you guys write songs, to me, I mean, it either goes to like almost like a love ballad, the way that you guys choose to do it, or it's like you're raising your hand in an arena and you're shouting out to the people sitting all the way on top.
Yep.
Is that a conscious thing, or is that something?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's conscious. I mean, I know, for example, our song "Hands Up." You know, Chaz wanted to write a song that was like an arena-ready song.
Right.
You know, it was not that he wanted to. It was like you look at our catalog of music at the time. And what do we need?
Sure.
We needed one of those. So he did set out to come up with a lick and get the right, you know, through everybody, get the right vocal line hook to be an arena like rock song.
Right, like arena ready.
So
that's an example of specifically writing a song. Like Robbie said, we stepped back and we looked at things and we were like, how can we write a song that, you know, gets the crowd involved and, you know, is that big anthemic kind of modern sounding song. So that's an example of us doing that. And then there's other times, like I said, where, you know, Tommy will come into rehearsal and he won't even be saying, let's write a new song. He'll be humming something, or we'll be doing a song and he'll start singing a line, and then he'll say, hey, wait a minute, I got this great melody, you know, play, you know, a chord underneath it, and we'll take it from there. So there's no real structure to it, and that's what makes it fun.
Even to get deeper, I mean, I'll go outside, to go to the bathroom and get another beer or whatever. I come back, Tommy's behind the drums a lot of the time.
That's true.
Coming up with all kinds of cool grooves.
He's a good drummer, by the way.
And I don't dismiss it at all.
Yeah, he's a good drummer.
I take everything he says because he's actually a really good drummer, and he's put together a couple of our drum beats for some of our songs. So
I didn't know
we're all over the
That's
spectrum.
true, yeah, Tommy's a great drummer.
The good thing about us is we're not like, no, you can't touch my drums, or you can't play the guitar, or, you know, this is how I think. You know, we're very open-minded.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, the other thing I noticed, and we were talking about this outside before, is with all the releases that you have done previously, The new one sounds like there's more of maturity when it comes to the songwriting and the structure. It's almost like kind of like when Metallica
We're growing up.
came out thrashing, and all of a sudden, you know, they kind of cut the hair, and they kind of went in a different direction. You either loved it or hated it because it wasn't what you were expecting. I kind of feel that this is happening with the band, with the lineup that you have. That you guys are just growing.
DC's a big part of that.
It's like almost reinventing itself. The sound.
Yeah.
Is that something?
Yeah, DC is a big part of that. I think you know, me, Robbie, and Tommy and Eric kind of have our niche, and we got really comfortable, you know, over the first 4 or 5 years, and we kind of settled into what we were doing. When David, I call him David, when DC came into the band, I think he added a more mature, modern, weird, hardcore, off the grid a little bit perspective to our songwriting that we really didn't have before that. We were so, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the beat, you know, kicking, screaming, blah 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 blah, right? DC adds some maturity to our writing, and he always adds that one. You know, instead of just the one, you know, David. He has that weird note in there all the time, so it kind of changes things. So.
And it kind of gives it more that modern sound, you know.
Yeah.
So when they say that, you know, you guys have a southern infused sound with metal and modern vocals, I attribute that to the guy before DC was more of the.
I agree. Pat. Our original guitar player, Pat.
Was more of the southern blues.
Tremendous guitar player, great blues guy, left-handed, stoner rock, genius alien level.
Amazing guitar player.
Amazing guitar player. We love Pat, you know, we love him. Everybody loves him.
I miss Pat a lot. He's a great guy.
He definitely infused more of the southern, southern honky-tonk, bluesy, lazy.
Yeah, like real raw, raspy,
yeah.
kind of.
No bullshit.
Yeah, definitely. So I think the difference, you know, with us now, with David is a little more mature writing, a little more
Cleaner on the tone, the parts and edge.
Yeah, definitely a cleaner sound.
No doubt.
I mean, because Pat was more like a fuzzy, noisy player. That's his style. Totally different styles. You know, and
because
sound especially.
As a player, it makes you change what you were doing. Because before, it was, I could see the southern influence. It was, you know, some of the guitar harmony parts that you guys shared together was like Leonard Skinner, Allman Brothers. You know, now it's more, a little bit more like Thin Lizzy.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, and you know, maybe some early Judas Priest as far as the twin guitar things go.
Totally agree. Yeah, totally agree with you. Yeah. I think me and David do a little bit. Me and DC do a little bit more of the harmony twin lead type of thing. So it's going in a great direction. We're ready to jam a little bit more.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
All right, so
let's do that.
That was enough talking for me. Nobody wants to hear me talk. They want to hear these guys rip it up.
All right, so this next song is not a KillCode song. It's a classic song that everybody knows. It's probably, you know, before you would ask me about influences for me, this is probably one of my biggest guitar influences. Mr. Montalbano, come on back up, sir.
Hell yeah!
We actually need a real musician on the stage for this song. So this next song is probably by one of my biggest influences in guitar, and I picked the most cliche, close, but no, the most cliche guitar solo song that he's well known for. So it's in the key of F sharp minor, by the way, which is also A major, right?
Oh, okay. Yes.
So we'll take it from there. Are we ready? Yep. Okay.
We're ready. Sure.
1, 2, 3, 4. Rose.
Love him. Love me some Randy.
The Viking Lord has arrived. Well, that was fucking cool.
Yeah, Randy, so before when you had asked me about, you know, how I got started in guitar and influences and stuff like that, real funny story, goes back to Pennsylvania. I affectionately call it Pennsyltucky, because I was so, you know, I grew up so far out in the woods in a very rural area in a little 2-bedroom cottage on the Susquehanna River. But when I was 8 years old, my mother and father were actually taking me down to this local music store, and I was going down for piano lessons. And I really didn't want to play the piano, but I was like, okay, I'll play the piano, whatever. And because my mom was like, you know what, you're going to learn an instrument, it's really good for you, you know, you'll spend positive time and hours doing something that's good. So I'm sitting in this little old country music studio called B&C Music in Pittston, and there's this young hippie kid behind the counter, long hair, he's got the beard, kind of looked like Jesus, he was definitely stoned. And back in those days, you know, for the kids out there now that are watching this streaming live, there were things called VHS videotapes. Yeah! And they were on these little tiny black and white TVs up in the corner of a room. Well, anyway, he had Kiss at Madison Square Garden playing, and as I'm sitting there waiting for my 90-year-old piano teacher to come out to give me my piano, I look up and it's the moment when Ace Frehley is doing his guitar solo,
And it smokes.
and his guitar's on fire, and he's shooting rockets out of his guitar, and he's a 7-foot alien spaceman from the planet Jendel.
And you just like a kid, like, whoa.
And then this little old 90-year-old lady comes walking out from the back of the thing, and she says, okay, Charlie Benellis, are we ready for piano? And I tug on my father's pants, and he looks at me, and I said, Dad, I don't want to play piano. And he's like, what? And I went, I want to do that. And that's how I decided to play guitar, and Ace Frehley was my original, you know, big influence.
I think I was at that concert.
That's the story.
My first show.
True story.
You know what? It's funny because we only met, like we discussed earlier, when I first auditioned for the band, but we have a very similar story as to why I chose drums. I played guitar and drums, like, from 2nd grade.
Good guitar player, by the way.
I didn't.
Yeah. and
Rob Knox, guitarist.
Rob's a great guitar player.
So somewhere around 4th grade, both of my teachers, ironically at the same time, came to me and said, you know, you should really just pick one and kick its ass, because you're very good at both. And I thought Peter Criss was the coolest one in Kiss. Sure. So I picked drums.
He had the coolest kid.
And that was the day I picked drums.
Oh,
But
good
same
stuff.
thing, it's all about Kiss. It's crazy.
Yeah. My first concert was Kiss.
And that's it.
Madison
So
Square
am I.
Garden,
Yeah.
1977. You know, it was just coming out of the comic book thing, and all of a sudden I was like,
Then you get older and you realize they didn't even know how to tune their guitars, but they still put on a kick-ass show.
well, yeah, that's all we cared about.
You know, and then it progressed. I mean, you know,
It's like when they became good musicians, it wasn't fun anymore.
right.
You know, it's,
yeah.
okay, they write a song.
You know, then it kind of progressed to, you know, I was big into, well,
Kiss Army.
my dad was a big country guy, like the outlaw country guys, like Johnny Cash. That was my first concert, by the way, Johnny Cash at Allentown Fairgrounds. But
Oh, wow.
Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, you know.
That whole clique.
Yeah, the real, you know, original outlaw country guys, yeah. And that's the music I grew up on, you know, that type of stuff, you know. You know, that's the stuff that I grew up on, and I cut my teeth, and I really learned how to play guitar and finger pick and all of that kind of stuff listening to that. But after the Kiss thing, it kind of progressed. I needed more than, you know, just Kiss. So I got into bands like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest.
That opened the doorway to the other.
Yeah, it really did.
going in
You know, and
and
then I mean, I remember the moment, the first time I ever heard Metallica. I was riding my little my BMX bike, and these older kids were having a party, like a bonfire or whatever, and I rode up on them, you know, because they were the cool kids and stuff, and they were playing Kill 'Em All, And I mean, I had never heard anything like that in my life before. I mean, the hairs on my arms stood up and I was like, oh my God, what is this? This is insanity. This is insanity. And my buddy would, like, back then we had cassettes. Remember the little white cassettes? And this kid, God rest his soul, Kurt Kowalczyk, he's since passed. But he took the cassette out and he looked at it and he goes, bro, this is Metallica. I was like, wow. Can I buy that in like a drink? Can I drink it? Can I eat it? So Metallica blew me away. And then when I got older, I really got into, Led Zeppelin and Queen and Aerosmith and Nazareth and, all those really good classic 70s awesome bands that not only played their instruments, but every guy in the band sang.
Yeah.
And they sang in harmony, and they recorded their songs analog. They didn't have computers back then. So these guys and girls would go into a room. I know this is a hard concept for the young kids to comprehend, but they would actually play the songs live, and they would sing their parts, and they would actually play their parts, and they would record it onto 3/4 inch tape, and that's why it sounds so good, because the physicality of the recording is actually there. So those are the things that really got me excited about being a musician.
It's a fantastic story.
Thank you.
Because I definitely hear some of those influences in your playing.
Sure.
Brian May.
Brian May from
Queen?
From Queen. Freddie Mercury's. What can you say? And that movie's coming out now. Is it called Bohemian Rhapsody? Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. At first, I thought it was gonna be corny, but I watched the trailer. It looks great. Oh my God, it looks amazing.
Now, is that the rise and fall of him or his life story?
I think it's kind of focused on Freddie's life, but on the band's early years, like probably like 70 to 79 or something like that, which is amazing.
Yeah, with a band like that, you just never knew what they were going to do next.
So good.
Every album was like
They were stupid. And just beyond.
Crazy.
Yeah, beyond. Nutso land.
Yeah. So you're playing Les Paul. Can you tell me a little bit about this guitar for the shredders out?
Love this guitar. This is one of my newer heritage ones. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's got the Tiger Honeyburst finish. It's got the two standard Gibson PAF patent applied for. It's all original, so I didn't touch this one at all. I play Gibson Les Pauls. I like the thick, warm humbucker sound. I do a lot of stuff with feedback and harmonics and things like that, and it's difficult to do a lot of that stuff with single coil guitars. So I've gravitated towards these.
So that's why you don't, because I was going to say, you were a super strat guy with the whammy bar,
I never,
I primarily see you with Les Pauls.
Always, yeah, especially with KillCode. With KillCode, I use, primarily my Les Pauls. I have an SG, and I've got a Telly, and I've got a Strat and stuff like that. And I use them more for recording. Yeah, right. But for live, no. Mr. Obnoxious, he's helping out with the interview right here.
Somebody needs their microphone back. Oh, they're standing.
They're standing. There you go.
That's enough.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm definitely a Gibson guy.
Now, as far as gear goes, what do you? I've always seen you with different amps and effects. Currently, what are you using?
Very simple. I've never been a very intricate, crazy.
You just have the right components, and I'm like, that guy gets a lot of punch.
Very meat and potatoes.
Yes.
So I use an Orange Rock Reverb, a 100. I don't use a lot of gain, and I've got a Crybaby Wah, a Tube Shooter, which is basically a tube screamer and a clean boost. It's a custom pedal built by a good friend of mine out in LA. And then I use the MXR Eddie Van Halen for a little bit of phase from time to time. And other than that, that's it. That's really it. So less gain.
Right. Right, straight through.
Straight meat and potatoes. Yeah.
You let the PA do all the work.
Yeah. Let the mixer guy do his job. That's it.
Now I noticed. I want to ask you to notice is when you're playing like theaters around the country. Do you have one type of setup that you go out with? as opposed to playing the stadiums out
No.
over in Europe.
No, that's a big misconception. A lot of people think when you're playing on a bigger festival
You
stage,
see the walls of amps.
you see all those walls of amps, and
Yeah.
John, you know this. Those are dummies. They're called dummies.
Dummy stacks.
I mean, in all honesty, I have a little, 1 8-inch orange cabinet here. You could play Madison Square Garden with that, because you basically you mic it and you play those amps through the monitor mix.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, no, we just use me and DC and Eric basically use half stacks when we do the bigger shows, and when we play smaller shows in New York City, we'll use a half stack or even smaller.
And that's plenty. That's plenty you need.
Plenty.
Wow. Yep. That's great. That's cool.
Another two? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Keep
Do
them
another
coming.
song, Mr. Montalbano. John Montalbano Cook. We'll do a KillCode song here.
Oh, here we go.
Well, we'll do a part of a KillCode song. Yeah.
I wanted to just thank everybody for tuning in to Live Stage Radio. This is ColdShot. I'm your host, Len Pyros. We got Robin Chaz from KillCode in the house. Special guest, Mr. John Montalbano. And I'm going to give it up for him. So, enjoy.
Thank you, Len. You guys have a little fun there in the beginning. Cool. Yeah, we're going to do the whole thing, sure.
All right, there, Frank.
Check your G. Alright, you guys take it from there. Cool, thank you.
Viking Lord.
Damn, a little bit
an interview?
Yeah.
A little extra.
Yeah, okay, that was cool.
Cool.
Oh, that was cool.
That was fun.
Damn. So I was kicking and screaming.
Kicking and screaming. Thanks, John. Awesome. John Montalbano, yeah? Awesome.
John.
Great guy, too, man.
All right, so a little bit more with the questions. What does 2018 hold for the band?
Right now, we have actually taken a little bit of a break from like the touring and the festival type thing. We're actually writing and recording the new songs, and we're doing semi-local shows. We're doing June 9th, this Saturday, in my hometown in Pennsylvania. I'm so excited for that. So excited to play for my family and my friends and people that I grew up with.
So it's kind of like a reunion.
Dave Black and John and so many of our friends are coming, from New York City. The KC crew are coming back with us, so that's going to be really exciting. And then, let's see, July 28th is a huge show for us. We're headlining the Bowery Ballroom, which is one of our favorite venues in New York City. So we're so excited for that.
I haven't done that in a very long time. It's
been a couple years, yeah. And then I think August we're doing some shows with Dee Snider. In September, some shows with Dee Snider.
Now we also know that.
What's September 23rd?
Hold on, we're playing in Pittsburgh.
That's right, Pittsburgh, yeah.
And according to the date, there actually at least may be
Steelers stuff going on, yeah.
These preseason games,
Yeah,
so we're
I'm a
gonna have
huge
to try
Steelers
to.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm a huge Steelers fan, so is Eddie.
See how he lit up.
You should come with us.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Steelers. All right.
I think I might have to.
Yeah. So yeah, the focus is kind of doing those shows, and then I think in October we might be doing something over in Germany, and then our favorite show that we're looking forward to is our annual Christmas show here at the Rail in Smithtown. So that's what we're really stoked about.
Yeah, that one kicks ass every year. Every year it gets more.
I mean, right now we're recording. We have like 3 videos we're supposed to shoot like really soon.
Oh, so you guys already have a schedule?
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff.
That you're gonna do.
Oh yeah, that's right, the videos.
We took off a little bit from the touring, but there's always work going on, so that's what's happening. And unbelievably, we have a ton of songs we're recording right now again. So
the videos working with David Swajeski again and Miriam, which is amazing. They're the kindest, most talented, wonderful, smart, visionary people. We're so fortunate to work with them. And then we're actually doing a photo shoot with the incredibly gifted James Weber. The stuff that guy has done is unbelievable. And for him to be so gracious to work with us is humbling as well. So we're very blessed.
Fantastic. Wow. Now, for people that want to catch up with the band, breaking news, events, you guys have like websites and stuff you want to plug? Well,
KillCode.net.
yeah, I mean, basically you can get to everything on social media or anything. KillCode at KillCode.net.
Yeah, KillCode.net.
Reverb Nation, everything spins off that page.
We have an official Facebook page. And
our
Twitter. And there's a bunch of Facebook pages like Germany and Mexico and Australia and all of that stuff. So.
Yeah, I mean, go KillCode.net will lead you to anything. You can, buy our CDs. You can look at our merch, and every song we have will lead you to Reverb Nation. So, that's the simplest link to give you.
And that's just for all of you guys who are seeing him for the first time that want to get a little bit more familiar with the band. That's the place to go and check them out. And you have everything lit up on social media.
Yep.
So that's cool. So, I think.
Cool.
What do you think?
Love it. Thank you so much.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap, Frank. Lenny, thank you so much.
Charles.
KC crew, we love you so much. Thank you for everything. Couldn't do any of this without you. Thank you, Ed Shin.
You're a guitar guy!
You're right.
Special thanks to John Montalbano for making guest appearance. Always great to see you, my friend. And to John and Nick for amazing job behind the scenes.
Thank you guys.
And to Christina Spano with Behind the Music. Had a great show earlier. And to everybody in attendance, just want to thank
Rob.
Lisa Mike from the Rails for allowing
Gotcha.
us to do this here.
Rob.
And catch us each and every week, Tuesday nights, Behind the Music with Christina Spano from 8 o'clock to 9, followed by ColdShot with me, Len Pyros, at around 9:30. Thanks for allowing us to come to your homes tonight. We hope you like the show tonight, the shows, and we'll see you next week.
Metal forever.
Bravo.
Thank you.